wow. I can't get over how effective these lures are. It's got that triple rolling action, just like rolling shad, but the fish is much faster. These fish are in an aggressive mindset here, and they are just slamming. Howdy guys, Cal Kellogg here. Well, I've been out deer hunting, bear hunting this morning, and actually had a pretty good stand back here in the woods, but there is a fella out here cutting firewood and hauling it out with a trailer, and you know, that's the deal with public land hunting. It's public land, so there's other users out here, so that's just part of the game. But I'm calling it a day today. It's about 9:30 in the morning, but I thought I'd stop here at the truck and talk about salmon fishing, river salmon fishing. Just like I said last week, the bite continues to improve. Down in the Benicia area, guys are still, catching fish off the shoreline. It's a low percentage deal. I've said it before. The camaraderie is great down there. It's a fish of 1,000 casts, but if you do hook up and you do land a salmon down there in the state park, it's going to be a high quality fish. There are still some very large fish in the ocean. There are some fish, filtering into the bay. Guy I know named Brad, he is not real crazy about going in the ocean. Parentheses, he gets real seasick. He's been taking his boat out and he's been trolling that area called California City, and he has gotten 2 fish so far, one about 14 pounds and one that was much larger. He said he thought it was between like 25 and 30 pounds. He wasn't sure, but a big quality king salmon. He is trolling with rigged bait, no flashers, no dodgers, nothing like that, straight bait. He's fishing the incoming tide. So what that tells you is there are still fish coming in from the ocean. And, Brad Staplin, he's been out there in his Boston Whaler. He's been catching salmon every weekend. The charter boats are catching salmon right outside the Golden Gate. So the bottom line is, there's not a plethora of salmon this year, but there are still salmon in the ocean. And that means there's going to be salmon trickling into the Delta and river system right up until and beyond the end of the salmon fishing season. And that's great news. Days are getting shorter. Air temperatures are going down. We're in a kind of a cold snap right now. And the bottom line is the water's cooling off, and cooler water is good for salmon fishing. The best thing that could happen is if we could get a 3-day rain or a couple 3-day storms here towards the end of October, get some fresh water in the system, that would really pep things up. But having said that, guys that are putting in the time, just like the guys out there in Benicia casting, they are catching salmon. In the Delta, striper trollers are picking up salmon, and salmon trollers are picking up salmon. And, that's really the way to split up that day. Get out there, spend some time at the tide change targeting the stripers, mid-tide, incoming tide. Get after those salmon. They're trolling the silvertrons. They're trolling spinners from Yakima Bait. Wrapped flatfish are working. And, guys that have caught fish in the Delta that I've talked to using flatfish, they're not using the giant T55s. They're using the smaller versions, the 4-inch baits, the 3.5-inch baits. They seem to troll better on that 3-way sinker rig. You can match them up. You can put that on one rod. Your partner can fish a spinner. They're very compatible in that way. So Delta fishing, not red hot, not even fair, but it's certainly productive. And you throw stripers into the mix, you mix your day up. Now you got quite a bit of excitement. You might catch a salmon. You should catch some stripers. Heck, there's a guy that messaged me this morning on one of the videos here on the channel. They went out there, they caught salmon, stripers, and largemouth bass, all while trolling. So, hey, that's a high excitement day in anybody's book, and what a 3-fish combo, largemouth, stripers, and king salmon from the ocean. That's pretty crazy. The best salmon fishing is up in the Redding, Red Bluff area, but for the fish to get there, they got to leave the Delta and they got to go through the Sac Metro area. The Sac Metro bite is slowly but surely getting better. The great time to fish out there is when you're going to get those late run fish in November, right on up until the close of the season. Again, rain will make that bite even better. The key is you got to get out there, you got to grind. It's a trolling fishery primarily, but you got to think like a sturgeon guy. Put in your time, make the most of your bites, have a big net, when you hook a fish, play it properly. It's a team sport. You should have a partner on the boat. One guy on the rod, one guy on the net. Net man, he's controlling the boat while he's getting ready to net the fish. And that's really going to set you up for success. Remember, you've never done it before. You're going to get that fish on. You're going to fight him. Everything's going well. When it's time to net that fish, the net man is just as important as the rod man. You got to watch the fish. If you try to net a salmon with his head down, you're going to knock him off the line. If you try to net a salmon from the tail end, it's probably not going to work out. You got to play that fish out until his head is up and you can steer him into the net. That's the rod man's job. Get his head up, steer him into the net, okay? And remember, a salmon might seem played out, but I guarantee you, when you get them up to the boat the first couple times, they are almost certainly going to go nuts. They're going to go ape, and that's when a lot of salmon are lost. Watch out for that sinker if you're running a three-way or a spreader. Get that sinker tangled in the net, you're probably going to lose the fish. So, net man, call your shot, watch the fish, wait for the right moment, and the rod guy, help him. Try to get the fish's head up when the fish is tired. Steer the fish towards the net. Don't be afraid to communicate. Here he comes. I'm going to bring his head up. Get ready, Dave. Okay, Sam. Stuff like that. Team sport, guys. Close the deal. Those bites are hard to get. And when you get one on, man, you don't want a fish story. You want a salmon dinner, right? So that's the deal on the Sacramento area. Now, up in the Redding, Red Bluff area, the fishing, say, from Woodson Bridge down, it's going, it's anywhere from 1 to 3 salmon a day, a combination of back trolling the big flatfish and bouncing roe. Some guys are boondoggling. Some guys are, vertically bouncing the roe. Mix it up. Some guys fish plugs all day. Some guys fish roe all day. Makes sense though. Start out the day before the sun gets on the water, pull the flatfish, and then switch over to the roe. Now, if you don't know how to navigate that section of the river in a jet boat, hire a guide. It's treacherous out there. There's big trees. There's big gravel bars. You get out there, bust your boat. I remember a few years ago, there was I think it was a Bolton, not sure. There was a beautiful Bolton jet boat out there setting on a gravel bar in about 6 inches of water. So that guy, he obviously had the boat, but he didn't have the knowledge, and it cost him a lot of misery, a lot of embarrassment, and a lot of cash, I'm sure, because it sat there for several days before they could get it off that gravel bar. Anyway, 1 to 3 fish a rod down there. The hot spot remains up near the barge hole, through the lava chutes down below that. That area is holding the most fish. That's where the most cold water is right now. So the fish are kegging up there. Up there, guys are getting close to limits some days. The best guys are getting close to limits. Average guys, they're getting anywhere from like 2 to 4, maybe 5 fish a boat. But that is the place to be. Some of the fish are chromers. Some of the fish are zombies. I got to be honest with you. Some of them are pretty kiped up in the jaw. They're pretty red. And you know what salmon guides always say? Well, they cut pretty good. They probably do. But those fish are good for the smoker. Not my idea of a great meal. But I'll tell you what, they fight. They just flat out fight. Salmon in the river outfights a striper every single time. The only thing that outfights a salmon in the river is a steelhead. Of course, they don't get up to 30 pounds, and a sturgeon. But if you want sheer power, it's hard to beat hooking up with a king salmon, whether it's a chromer or a dark fish. But that is the place to be if you want the absolute highest percentage chance of hooking a fish. Get out there with Kevin Brock, Jason Thatcher, Mike Bogue, Kirk Portocarrero, all those guys, all those renowned names. Those guys are all top sticks. Robert Dunn. They know the area. They know the bite. They know how to fish during any given set of conditions. They are going to put you on the fish. If you really want to get a salmon, spend the $200, jump on one of their boats, ask a lot of questions. You're probably going to catch a fish, and you're going to learn a ton about salmon fishing. Even if you don't fish that area, if you want to fish down the line in the Sac Metro area, you still want to pick those guys' brains. They know about scents. They know about baits. They know about lure speed. They know everything there is to know about presentation, netting fish, cleaning fish. Money well spent, guys. So there you have it. The salmon fishing's improving. It's going to do nothing but get better. It's certainly better for big fish. And as we get into November, end of October, we're going to start seeing those late season chromers show up. That's my favorite time of the year to fish. That's when you got a shot at a 40 or 50 pound fish. And if you get one of those late season chromers, those fish offer top-notch table fare. So if you've been thinking salmon fishing and you haven't gone, get on out there. You got another, say, 8 weeks or so left of pretty good fishing. It's not the kind of fishing we had in the 70s or in the 80s. There's not that big a volume of fish out there. Obviously, we have water flow issues, but there are enough salmon out there for you to hook up, for you to get a good salmon dinner out of the deal, and for you to have the thrill and excitement of fighting a big old river run king salmon. I'm Cal Kellogg. I'm signing off for now. I will catch you next time right here on YouTube. And remember, if you're looking for gear, you know where to go. Fishhuntshoot.com. And please give one of those guides a call. Get out on the river and have a good time. I'll catch you later, guys. You have a great day.